Hello everyone, welcome to Circuit Masterclass. If you want to learn electrical engineering in a simple and practical way, you're in the right place. In this video, we'll understand today's topic step by step with easy explanations and clear illustrations. So, without wasting any time, let's get started. How does electric current actually flow inside a metal conductor? For example, when we connect a copper wire to a battery, what exactly happens inside that wire? Do the atoms move? Or do the electrons move? Today we'll understand the complete mechanism of current conduction in metals. First of all, remember one important fact. Every metal contains a very large number of free electrons. These electrons are not tightly bound to any particular atom. Instead, they move freely throughout the metal. The remaining part of the metal consists of positive ions which are fixed at their lattice positions. So, we can imagine a metal conductor as a collection of fixed positive ions and freely moving electrons. These free electrons are responsible for the flow of electric current. Now suppose no battery is connected to the conductor. That means there is no potential difference across the wire. What will happen? Even without any applied voltage, the free electrons are not stationary. They are continuously moving in random directions. Their motion is somewhat similar to the random motion of gas molecules. In fact, at room temperature, the average speed of these free electrons is extremely high, about 10 to the power 5 meters per second. That is approximately 100,000 meters per second. This is a very large speed. But don't get confused. Although the electrons are moving very fast, they are moving randomly. Some move to the right, some move to the left, some move upward, some move downward. During this random motion, they continuously collide with the positive ions present inside the metal. After every collision, their direction changes. As a result, when we consider all the electrons together, their average motion in any one direction becomes zero. Therefore, there is no net flow of charge in any particular direction. And since electric current is the directed flow of charge, no current flows through the conductor. Now let's connect a battery across the conductor. The moment we connect the battery, a potential difference appears across the two ends of the wire. Because of this potential difference, an electric field is established throughout the conductor. This electric field exerts a force on every free electron. Since an electron carries a negative charge, it experiences a force opposite to the direction of the electric field. Therefore, the free electrons start moving towards the positive terminal of the battery. Now you may think that once the electrons start moving, they should keep accelerating continuously. But in reality, that does not happen. Why? Because while moving through the conductor, the electrons repeatedly collide with the positive ions of the metal. After every collision, the extra velocity gained due to the electric field is almost lost. Then the electric field again accelerates the electron. Again it collides. Again it slows down. This process continues millions of times every second. So the electrons never get a chance to reach a very high velocity in one direction. Although the electrons move randomly with very high speed, the applied electric field produces a small average motion towards the positive terminal. This average velocity is called the drift velocity. Definition: the average velocity with which free electrons drift through a metallic conductor under the influence of an electric field is called the drift velocity. It is represented by V sub d. Now here's a very important point. The drift velocity is extremely small. Its value is of the order of 10 to the power minus 5 meters per second. Just think about it. Without an electric field, electrons move randomly at nearly 10 to the power of 5 meters per second. But their drift velocity under an electric field is only about 10 to the power minus 5 meters per second. That is a huge difference. Now an interesting question arises. If electrons drift so slowly, why does a bulb glow almost immediately after we switch it on? Does the electricity travel slowly? The answer is no. Remember, the electrons themselves move with a very small drift velocity. But the electric field established inside the conductor propagates almost at the speed of light. The moment the switch is closed, the electric field reaches almost every part of the conductor. As a result, the free electrons present throughout the wire begin drifting almost simultaneously. That is why the bulb lights up almost instantly, even though the individual electrons move very slowly. This is a very important concept, and many students confuse it in examinations. Always remember, The electrons move slowly, but the electric field propagates extremely fast. We learned that when an electric field is applied across a conductor, the free electrons acquire a small average velocity, called the drift velocity. Now an important question arises. How is electric current related to drift velocity? Is there any mathematical relation between them? The answer is yes. Today, we'll derive one of the most important equations in electrical engineering, the relationship between electric current and drift velocity. So, let's begin. Consider a copper wire carrying electric current. Let us assume the wire has a uniform cross-sectional area. Mark any cross-section of the wire and call it P. Now let's define the quantities that we'll use in our derivation. Let us consider capital A to be the cross-sectional area of the conductor. N is the electron density. That means the number of free electrons present in 1 cubic meter of the conductor. E equals charge on each electron. We know that the magnitude of electronic charge is 1.6 times 10 to the power of minus 19 coulombs. And finally, V sub d represents the drift velocity of the free electrons. These four quantities are enough to derive the current equation. Now suppose we observe the conductor for 1 second. Since the drift velocity is v sub d meters per second, during 1 second, all the free electrons present within a distance of v sub d from the cross-section P will cross this section. In other words, within 1 second, a small cylindrical portion of the conductor having cross-sectional area A and length v sub d will pass through section P. Now let's calculate the volume of this cylindrical portion. We know volume equals cross-sectional area multiplied by length. Therefore, volume equals A times Vd. This is the total volume of conductor whose electrons cross the section in 1 second. Next, we need to find the total number of free electrons present inside this volume. Remember, N is the number of free electrons per unit volume. Therefore, the number of electrons equals electron density multiplied by volume. The number of electrons equals N into capital A into V suffix D. Now every electron carries a charge of E coulomb. Therefore, total charge passing through the cross-section in 1 second is number of electrons times charge per electron. That means the charge equals N A V D E. Now remember the definition of electric current. Current is the rate of flow of electric charge. That means current equals charge passing through the conductor in 1 second. Therefore, current I equals N E A V suffix D. This is one of the most important equations in current electricity. You should remember this equation throughout your engineering studies. Now let's understand what this equation tells us. In a given conductor, the cross-sectional area A remains constant. The electron density N also remains constant. The electronic charge E is obviously constant. Therefore, only one quantity changes, and that is the drift velocity. Hence, I is directly proportional to Vd. That means, if the drift velocity doubles, the electric current also doubles. If the drift velocity becomes 3 times, the current also becomes 3 times. So, greater drift velocity means greater electric current. Now remember another important point. In the previous lecture, we learned that the drift velocity is extremely small, of the order of 10 to the power minus 5 meters per second. Many students ask, if the electrons move so slowly, how can a large current flow? The answer is very simple. Although each electron drifts very slowly, the number of free electrons inside a conductor is enormously large. So even a very small drift velocity results in a significant amount of charge crossing the conductor every second. And therefore, a sufficiently large electric current is produced. Now let's move to another very important concept, current density. Current density is defined as the current flowing per unit cross-sectional area of the conductor. It is represented by the symbol J. Mathematically, J equals I divided by A. Now substitute the current equation that we just derived, since I equals NEAVD. Therefore, J equals NEAVD divided by A. The area cancels out. Finally, we get J equals NeVd. This is the expression for current density in terms of drift velocity. Now, what is the SI unit of current density? Since current is measured in amperes and area is measured in square meters, the SI unit becomes amperes per square meter or amperes per meter squared. I hope this video has helped you understand the concept clearly. If you found it useful, please like the video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to Circuit Masterclass. Don't forget to press the bell icon so you never miss our upcoming videos on power systems, protection, transformers, switchgear, transmission lines, and other electrical engineering topics. If you have any questions or suggestions, let me know in the comment section. Thank you for watching. See you in the next lecture.